In this help video, I'd like to look at our MTPredictor preferences. So if we go to the NinjaTrader control panel, we go to Tools, we have a new option in there called MTPredictor, and here we have some different settings here. About MTPredictor will give you some information about your unlock code and what version you're using. Analysis here is when you close the charts, you should go to Analysis, Save Analysis just before you close NinjaTrader, because that will save your MTPredictor analysis. If you want to clear your saved analysis on your hard drive, you can do that, but that's normally only if directed by one of our MTPredictor support staff. But the option I want to look at here is Accounts and Risk. So Tools, MTPredictor, Accounts and Risk. This opens up a new panel which has a few options that I'll go through now. The first one here is Perform Rounding to Optimize Position Sizing. What that means is if I just close this and perhaps put some analysis on a chart here, normally we do our position sizing to say a 2% risk of a $20,000 account, but here you can see it's only found $300 risk. Now say you want to up that ever so slightly and you want to take slightly over that. So if I go to Tools, MTPredictor, Accounts and Risk, if I tick this box, it will change the risk just a little bit more. So if I do Apply, here you can see it's allowed you to, oops, I'll get that one out of the way. Oops, too many boxes here. It's allowed you to take 3 contracts and it's increased the risk ever so slightly. So it's gone slightly over your $400 or 2% of a $20,000 account. So it allows you to just take slightly more risk if you wish to, and you're a professional trader. So there it will be 3 contracts. Just put that back to as it should be. There, if I do Apply now, you can see now it goes back to the 2 contracts and keep your initial risk definitely under the 2%. So I'd only do that if you're a professional trader and you know what you're doing. In other words, you're quite happy to take a slightly bigger risk than your original 2%. For Forex traders here, you can now select how you want your Forex analysis to be displayed, whether you're trading a standard contract, $10 a pip, a mini contract $1 a pip, or a micro contract $0.1 a pip, or you can also say none. In other words, it will place the MTPredictor analysis on your Forex chart in the actual dollar value. In other words, the full value of the amount you want to buy or share. So it just means you can either choose standard, mini, micro, or none. If you're a Forex trader, you'll know which size of contracts you're trading and which one to actually to use. Second tab here under Accounts is you can set up different accounts. Now these appear in the drop down at the top of the chart here and also used in our trade module. So you can see I've got a default count of $20,000 in a currency of US dollars, and I'll set up another Euro one here for $30,000 in euros. Let's say we'll set up a new one. Let's call it, I don't know, GBP. Let's make the balance something like 50,000, and here we have a drop down currency as well. So if you're trading your trading account is in a different currency, our position sizing here can be worked out in your base currency as well. I'll show you this in a second. So for example, if I do GBP here, do OK, it creates another account. Now how do you use these? Well, if I go back to the chart, you can see at the top here we have a drop down with your different accounts. So say for example you're trading the USE minis, but you're in Europe and your base currency in your trading account is euros. You don't want to see the position sizing here in dollars, you want to see it in euros. So now if you change the account, can you see how all the values here are now changed to euros and your base account is in euros? Now what we do in the background is we actually change the tick value here based on the current exchange rates every time the NinjaTrader platform is opened. So we basically work out what the tick value is each day for you. This is very handy if you're a Forex trader, because as you know, for non-US dollar based cross rates, the pip value is always going to be changing, and this is done for you basically every day. So in other words, if you're trading the ES and your account in euros, the tick on the ES is actually 11.43 euros as of today. If I change this to British pounds, you can see it's 8.79 British pounds. Or if I go back to my dollar account, it's obviously 12.5 US dollars. So that means that all your position sizing can be done on your account balance currency and your account balance size, no matter what asset you're actually trading, whether it's based in or denominated in dollars or euros or pounds. It just keeps everything constant for you, and that's vital for keeping initial risk constant over the different markets and different asset classes you're actually trading. Right, let's go back to the control panel, tools, MTP Predictor, account and risk. Let's look at the next section. So that's the account section, where you can set up a different account and put that in your currency that your actual trading account is actually traded in. The last tab here is risk profiles. This is where you define the percentage risk and the tick offset you wish to use for different asset classes. So for futures, we suggest risking no more than 2%, but perhaps if you're a newer trader, you want to drop that to 1%. And our tick offset are basically how many ticks beyond the actual bars, highs and lows we do our entry and our stop. So if I just close that, come to here, you can see here's our trade set up here. Our entry trigger is at 88.75, but the high of this bar here would be 88.50. In other words, the entry trigger will be one tick beyond the actual high or low of the bar. Just bring this back in again, tools. So in this way you define your tick entry. So for futures, we normally say less than 2%, and our entry and stop is normally one tick beyond. The difference is when you're trading currencies, the entry offset is slightly larger, because here I'm actually trading I've got my currencies in fractional pips. In other words, they're displayed in 5 decimals and 3 decimals. If you're a forex trader, you'll be familiar with that. So the offset here, we have 2 and 3 pips, because in currencies we like to have a slightly bigger offset due to the way forex is traded and the bid and offer. It just makes it a little bit easier if you have a slightly wider offset when you're trading forex. But the reason they're 20 and 30 is because I'm actually using fractional pips in my forex trading. But if you are unsure about this, email us and we'll be able to help you with which values to use. CFDs, stocks. So here we wanted obviously a smaller risk. We suggest either 0.1 or 0.5%, and there's an unknown entry there as well. So here you can define what your percentage risk should be and your tick offsets for your different asset classes, but you'll want to probably leave these the same for our default values unless you really need to change them. But the main one here is the accounts, where you set up the new accounts and then they're available up at the drop down there for the charts for your position sizing.